Serena Williams shocked the world when she made a brutally honest confession about life after childbirth. The woman who had always been known for her power, strength, and perfection admitted that nothing had prepared her for the emotional and physical struggles she faced after becoming a mother. People had always seen Serena as unstoppable, but behind the trophies and victories, she faced a battle that no one expected. She revealed that after giving birth to her daughter Olympia, she struggled to accept the changes in her body. The same body that had won Grand Slam titles and dominated tennis courts now felt foreign to her. She had gained weight, lost stamina, and often looked in the mirror without recognizing herself. And you won't believe how much pain she went through in silence while the world expected her to remain flawless. From a young age, Serena had been under the spotlight. She was not just a tennis champion, but a symbol of power. Every time she walked on the court, the world admired her as if she was superhuman. But destiny took an unexpected turn when she became a mother in 2017. The moment that should have been the happiest time of her life turned into one of the most difficult. Her pregnancy came with dangerous complications, including life-threatening blood clots that almost cost her life. Doctors performed multiple surgeries to save her, and for a long time, she couldn't move like before. For someone who built her whole life around her strength, this was a devastating change. Serena later admitted that during this time, she felt weaker than ever, both physically and emotionally. This is where it gets interesting because even during her hardest days, people expected her to return to tennis as if nothing had happened. She lived under the pressure of fans, sponsors, and critics who all wanted to see the same Serena they remembered. The world didn't care about her recovery. They wanted her perfect body back, and they wanted it fast. She was photographed, judged, and criticized every time she stepped out in public. What makes this story different is that Serena was not just fighting for her health, but also against the expectations that women, especially mothers, face every day. The media constantly focused on how much weight she had gained or how her body looked instead of her life-threatening complications or emotional struggles. For any woman, this kind of scrutiny would be overwhelming. But for Serena, it was crushing because her image had always been tied to strength. The craziest part was that she was one of the greatest athletes in history, yet she still felt judged and insecure about her body. Serena confessed that her recovery wasn't just about fitness, but about rebuilding her confidence and identity. She said that she had to fight harder than ever to feel like herself again. She shared that she had days when she looked in the mirror and didn't see the champion everyone else saw. She felt like a stranger in her own skin. Even though she had accomplished more than most athletes in the world, she admitted she sometimes doubted herself. But here is the shocking part. Instead of pretending to be perfect, she decided to share her pain. Serena spoke openly about her struggles, and her honesty made millions of women feel less alone. She proved that even the strongest people could feel broken, and that's what made her story so powerful. Serena's road back to her old self was anything but easy. After giving birth, her body had been through surgeries, pain, and months of weakness. Most people would have taken years to recover, but Serena didn't give herself that time. She pushed herself harder than ever, determined to return to tennis even when her body wasn't ready. She admitted that she started intense training sessions far too soon, doing everything from heavy weightlifting to exhausting cardio drills. She went through strict meal plans, cutting out sugar, processed foods, and even entire food groups in an effort to get results. She tried plant-based diets, experimented with fasting, and spent hours in recovery treatments like cryotherapy and deep tissue massages just to get her strength back. But even with all this effort, she often felt like she was failing. There were days when she broke down in tears, doubting if she would ever be the same Serena who once dominated every opponent. The pressure on her was unimaginable. She wasn't just a new mother trying to heal. She was a global icon with millions of eyes watching her every move. Fans expected her to come back stronger than ever, and brands expected her to look flawless. The sports world assumed that because she was Serena Williams, she would naturally bounce back without struggle. But this is how reality humbled even one of the greatest athletes of all time. Serena admitted that she was terrified every time she stepped onto the court because she knew she wasn't at her peak. She cried after matches where she didn't feel like herself. This wasn't just a comeback. It was a battle for her identity. What makes this part of her story even more shocking is that while she was pushing herself to recover physically, her mental health was falling apart. Serena confessed that she felt overwhelmed, insecure, and even ashamed at times. She wanted to show strength, but inside she felt weak. The craziest part was that she hid most of this pain from the public, only revealing it later in her interviews. She admitted that she had to work harder on her mind than her body because no matter how many workouts she did, she couldn't truly heal until she faced her insecurities. That honesty changed everything because, for the first time, the woman the world saw as invincible showed her vulnerability. Serena's comeback wasn't about snapping back quickly. It was about proving to herself that she was still capable of greatness. She said she wanted to show her daughter that strength wasn't about perfection, but persistence. And so she kept going. She played matches even when her body was screaming for rest. She endured criticism about her weight and appearance. Yet she refused to stop. But here is the shocking part. Every victory she achieved after becoming a mother was far more meaningful than any trophy she had won before. Because now, every time she stepped on the court, she wasn't just playing tennis. She was showing the world what true strength looked like. Serena's journey took a powerful turn when she stopped trying to meet the impossible standards set by the world and decided to set her own. For years, she had been judged for being too muscular, too strong, and too different from what society considered feminine. After childbirth, those comments only got worse. Headlines picked apart her body, questioning if she had let herself go, and social media critics compared her post-baby figure to her younger self. But instead of hiding, Serena used this negativity as fuel. She started speaking out against the unrealistic expectations placed on mothers and the harmful snapback culture that pressured women to erase all signs of pregnancy. She admitted that she had worked hard to bounce back, but she also confessed that she learned something far more valuable. She didn't have to be perfect to be powerful. This statement changed the narrative. Suddenly, Serena wasn't just a tennis legend. She was a voice for every woman who had ever felt judged after becoming a mother. This is where it gets interesting because Serena began redefining beauty and strength on her own terms. She wore bold outfits on the court, including the famous black catsuit at the 2018 French Open. Critics said it broke tradition, but Serena revealed it was designed to prevent the blood clots that had nearly killed her. That moment became a symbol of both survival and defiance. She was no longer dressing for approval. She was dressing for herself. And her courage resonated deeply with women all over the world. She showed that confidence didn't come from fitting in, but from standing out. The craziest part was how quickly this honesty changed her image. People who once saw her only as an athlete began to see her as a cultural force, someone who used her platform to challenge beauty standards, racism, and sexism in sports. Serena's openness made her more relatable than ever. Millions of mothers saw themselves in her story. They understood the emotional toll of looking in the mirror and not recognizing their own bodies. They felt the same pressure to return to normal even when their bodies were still healing. But here is the shocking part. By sharing her struggles, Serena gave women permission to stop feeling ashamed. She showed them that their scars, curves, and changes were proof of strength, not weakness. She turned her own pain into empowerment. And in doing so, she built a new kind of legacy that extended far beyond tennis. Her journey also reshaped her priorities. Becoming a mother gave her a new perspective on life. Winning championships was still important, but now her biggest victory was setting an example for her daughter, Olympia. She wanted her daughter to grow up knowing that beauty comes in many forms, that strength is not about appearance, but about resilience, and that confidence comes from embracing who you are. Serena wasn't just raising a child. She was raising a new standard for how women, especially mothers, see themselves. Being Serena Williams had never been easy, not because of her talent, but because of the heavy spotlight she lived under. From the moment she became a professional tennis player, everything about her was judged: her appearance, her outfits, even her attitude on the court. That pressure only grew when she became a mother. For male athletes, fatherhood was often celebrated as an inspiring milestone, but no one expected them to bounce back physically or question their performance because of sleepless nights. Serena, on the other hand, faced a completely different standard. People didn't just wonder if she could return to tennis. They demanded to see her body back in its old form. Instead of focusing on her skill, The world focused on her waistline, her stamina, and every detail of her appearance. This double standard wasn't new for Serena, but motherhood made it painfully clear. She decided to speak out not only for herself, but for every woman who had ever been pressured to look perfect after childbirth. Her words carried weight because they came from someone who had lived through it all. She openly admitted, "I did a lot to bounce back, but I also learned that I didn't have to be perfect to be powerful." That message struck a chord with women everywhere. It reminded them that their worth wasn't tied to their body size, their shape, or how quickly they could erase motherhood from their bodies. But here is the shocking part. Serena's story wasn't just about body image. It became a movement that challenged the way society viewed women, success, and strength. She started conversations about the pressures women face, whether they're athletes or not, and she made people question why perfection was demanded